South Carolina come in town, then we'll take questions.
Yeah, it seems like we got here quick to our last regular season SEC home series, and I think there'll only be one more additional game maybe next Tuesday against Jacksonville State. So week 9 of SEC play, we'll host South Carolina Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I know we have a graduation ceremony on Thursday for some guys, and then a senior day will be highlighted honoring those guys on Friday. I'm going to say these names because these guys have been so important to me in the program. Graduation ceremonies: John Armstrong, Parker Carlson, Derek Fabian, Ike Irish, Connor McBride, Cooper McMurray, Carson Myers, Ben Shore. And then the senior day deal will be Fabian, Shore, Sam Dutton, Carlson, Myers, McBride, and Armstrong. And then our managers have been amazing. We're losing a large group of managers, and anybody that's played college athletics or been around any college programs know that they're the heartbeat, the servants, and never get enough credit, but our guys have been instrumental. They're going on, and they're going to be leading companies. We got a pilot recently, and I just think them serving our program is great for them to build up some work ethic and learn how to work hard and do some things, and they've served our program well, so we'll honor those guys as well. Ethan Cornelius, Jay Holly, Cole Kehoe, Peyton Sauer with analytics, and Quinn Stromberg, who will be going to be a grad assistant with Old Dominion next year in their baseball program. Is pretty cool. And then the senior day include Bryce Decker to that group. So looking forward to playing Coach Maneri. It's been a few years playing him. I think he was absent for 3 years, but I think he's the winningest active head coach in college baseball. And he's at a storied program in South Carolina. So I see those guys probably in a very similar situation to where we were last year, and we won our last 2 series last year. We'll see. They've had some guys out that's made a huge impact. I think about Petrie, the power hitter, is one of the best sluggers the last couple of years in the Southeastern Conference. If he continues to be out, that's definitely a challenge. I think we might see 2 left-handed starters. That's a challenge for our group because we're so left-handed. We'll see a low 3-quarter right-handed pitcher in Stone for game 1, who won against Ole Miss a few weeks ago, watching some tape of that. They fielded. I thought that's been an advantage for us just overall defensively the last 2 weeks. But I think they're above 970 fielding as a team, so they're pretty buttoned up from that category. We've got to find some ways to be successful and come out and continue to try to play hard. What's the old adage? It's not the water in the boat that gets you in trouble, it's the water inside the boat. That was a tough series for us that we just played, and now we're starting with the Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. And the time we spent in a dugout and on the field last weekend is longer than normal. And we started exams on Monday, and we're coming back off the road. So I'm more worried about our team, to be honest with you. We feel like we're at a little bit of a crossroads to where we do an assessment on Monday, following, get back in the weight room, and we do some hydration tests. We do weight to see what happened after playing a series, and we do some measurements of jumping to just try to test where they're at, how their body is, and we're at some lows over the last 6 weeks. So Monday was just in the weight room. Tuesday we barely did some stuff and some live at bats yesterday. We'll try to get to a decent practice today, but I'm more worried about our program and our players being able to recycle for a series when it looks like some of the good assessments that our guys do are, it's at a point to where it's adjusted some of our work this week, and understandably. Their sleep's probably thrown off too, of trying to get back and get into exams and finish, and some of our guys will be finishing exams Friday morning after we play a game and before game 2. But every team has to go through this, and every team has exams. This just happens to be our week, and we're monitoring it closely to try to get them to finish strong in the classroom. But for this series, I think it's about how we can turn our bodies around and get back into this series.
Questions? Brian?
What's your message to the team in regards to there's opportunities out there to host a regional, maybe even move up super regional, But you also know you're not a team that can just show up and win a series.
Yeah, and we started a journey of really trying to put this book in around the last 3 weeks. So that started for us last week on the road, those 4 games. I don't think it's who we play, I think it's how we play. I think every team in our league is equipped to be able to create challenges for you and to beat you in the game of baseball. Just the game of baseball by design always gives the other fellow a chance. So just like every weekend we've played, I don't think there's going to be a big difference in talent level and skill level that's on the field. And I thought we played our hearts out last week. That needs to continue for 2 more weeks. And we can play our hearts out and not win, I guess, I should say. But it's at least this time last year, it was in our control. This year, it's in our control. So that's a step. And then you go get whatever you can get when you have a chance to get it. So I'd be shocked. We've been talking about consistency. We've been talking about, Twitter's not going to put you in a regional. I don't even know the forecast and stuff that's drifted down to me. None of that's worth anything it's written on, or it's worthless until you play these last 2 weekends. It's like you want to win a baseball game, but you can't win the ninth till you get there. You can't win till they get to that pitch and stage of the ball game. So I don't feel like we've done anything. I look at where we're positioned in the league. We have so much work to do. There should be no reason whatsoever to slow down, stop, and not keep trying to, be successful every time you step on the field. So for what's out there and what's projected, that's not what a team and a baseball team should be, having any mindset over. Our deal is whatever we can put into this game tomorrow night. And for me, all I think about right now in this world is getting these guys recycled the best we can to help them get back out there to put their best foot forward tomorrow. So we're not going to look ahead. If I can keep the team in the moment and keep them playing hard, that's good enough. We've played enough baseball to kind of know how we want to. We know who we are, what we need to do. I think it's staying in the moment is probably the biggest challenge for us, to not look ahead or not hear what others are saying, because I guarantee you, if we don't get the outcome we want this weekend, that same little projection won't be there for the Auburn Tigers. So we must keep working, and what we can control is this ball game tomorrow night.
But obviously the weather impacts how you pitch. Just talking about kind of your adjustment on the mound from that rotation standpoint.
Yeah, we really played the bulk outside of a half inning. We played the bulk of that series Saturday, Sunday. So that was really hard for Dutton, 2 days to pop him up there. And then we were doing everything we could to win a series against a top 10 team on the road. So our hottest pitcher over the last month was Chatterton, who started on Tuesday. And I definitely didn't want to get to a stage where I felt uncomfortable with what I was asking him to do. So I just asked him to open the ball game for 3 innings, and he did an amazing job for us. So that made it possible. I bring him up because I was thinking he might be the Thursday starter at one point, but then what do you do with him for 9 days to keep him sharp and keep him hot? So elected to dump him in the ball game. Fisher behind him is what we did game 3. So now I think that sets him up for game 3, and we've been TBA, and I always want to be able to announce a rotation. So we're going to do that. And Tilly seemed the most movable piece. He threw 60 pitches or something. It seemed like he could move up. So we'll go Tilly, Dutton, and Chatterton. And like I said, I was excited about Fisher. If y'all have heard any of my comments and thoughts, just how he did an amazing job from his worst outing of the year to coach saying, hey, you don't just get the ball every week now with no consequences, and being an older player with a ton of experience, and for him to absolutely thrive in what we asked him to do. I'm just tickled to death and happy for him. So that'll be how we'll set it up. I think it's our best chance to win. I think it's the best to handle these arms because Dutton's gone deep, consistent every time, and we have to be mindful of this weekend, best foot forward, and also we'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, final series in Oxford, and then onward to the tournament.
You touched on it a little bit, but going with a new look at the rotation this weekend. Last weekend, Kate Fisher comes in a new role and has a successful outing. For these guys to be able to just kind of, come out in whatever role, is needed, and you guys are still getting results and wins, like, what does it say about your pitching staff that they're able to have that kind of flexibility and malleability?
Yeah, tickled to death. I guess on some of the, well, looking back through the years when I felt like that, sometimes you get injuries or whatever excuses you can make, stuff like that. When I felt like I've hurt a ball club before, is maybe with the rotation or with the pitching pieces, turning it upside down prematurely. Which maybe I could have waited a few more weeks. We've been so patient with this. These are not knee-jerk moves. We have waited and been patient, and this is just what maybe the games told us, or to try to do something to benefit health. So it looks like we're going with a new rotation and things of that nature. I get it, but it didn't come early or premature trying to shake something up. We're adjusting where the boys are at, where they're at with their stuff, the days off, the amount that they've thrown, and they've done a good job. I guess Tilly's been in the bullpen all year. This will be his third start this year. Chatterton, we really wanted him in there the whole time. He had the challenges of starting SEC play with the command. What an amazing job he did to go back. Basically, I wouldn't call it every game's just as important to us, we think, but for him to go down to like the minor leagues and go find himself, and not only steady himself, but to get hot, to really get going again, has been awesome to see. And like Fisher, this is going to be a neat story. And at least for another weekend with announcing 3 starters, that'll be the same job that we're asking him to do again. So, but there's been fewer moving parts with this pitching staff, and I appreciate that and I like that. And I think we've adjusted, but I don't feel like any of the pitchers or the team feels like we've been like, jerking everybody around, so to speak, with not knowing what's going on. I think everybody's pretty crystal clear on what their role is. Even if somebody's had to adjust or pull back, I think everybody knows why. And it's important for this age group. They always want to know why. I think it's been pretty clear cut with this group, and they pitched good enough to keep us from having to, turn this thing upside down.
Cam Tilly now being from the most heavily used weekend piece for bulk innings in the back end to a starter, how has that changed, I guess, things for him, but things for you in trying to plan out a game when you can't say, I'm going to throw Cam in there for 3 or 4 innings and we get in trouble?
Yeah, that was a challenge, because when you're going to put him in that rotation, who's going to fill that void, right? And that's been the biggest thing. You hope some guys are coming. Parker Carlson came back. Carson Myers has been steady, been able to give us some innings and multiple innings. Is Mason Cook coming a little bit? Ryan Hetzler hadn't just been a 1-inning guy. You could drop him. That was huge in that ball game, game 1, to where Dutton, we didn't have to go 2 or 3 pieces in between. We were able to go right to Dutton to Hetzler, and that's how you're able to go low. Him coming in the 7th inning, so that means both those guys did a great job. This weekend we project, it could be 6-3 or something, but we think we're going to get a majority of a right-handed hitting lineup. And I think Armstrong's coming a little bit. It's a senior that's a ton of experience and been a little up and down. I thought the contact was a little hard, too many hits early in the year. He competed good the other day. I still think John Armstrong's coming. So we feel like, for right now, Griffin Graves has been another lefty in there. Jackson Sanders, somebody we still heavily believe in, but hadn't thrown as much recently. We think there's enough pieces to be able to do this. Now for Cam, I just think it's the percentage of strikes is where he's not matching what we're doing right now with probably Dutton and Chatterton. The stuff is undeniable. If the delivery gets off timing, can he shorten those windows or gaps is huge for him. But I just want Cam to know that all we're asking for is him to go through the lineup a couple of times and to try to go get strike 1 to get ahead and stay ahead. And I think he's a growing pitcher too. I mean, this is a sophomore pitcher we're talking about, but the stuff is there, and he's worked hard for this opportunity. He's been wanting this opportunity for a long time. Hopefully, this 3rd time's a charm this weekend, and he gets us off to a good start, because that's important. That's what's tough about not wanting to move Dutton up 2 days. You want Sirius to get off to a good start, and that's what he's done for us. somebody was telling me, tapped me on the shoulder and told us we were in those all blue uniforms. We're like 7-0, and that's because Dutton's been throwing them. I don't think it's because of the blue uniform. Maybe.
Maybe the ball is
Something. But the point is now, Tilly's starting the game, but he's getting the series started off, and we've been really strong there. So I'm serious about how much we're trying to win and be successful here, but that's a challenge for us because Dutton's not throwing that first game right now. But we believe in Cam, or we'd run somebody else out there, or move Dutton up 2 days. And we think this is the best route to go, but just going out there and getting the game underway in a good way. And you know, we've used Myers. He's been good. They've piggybacked off each other pretty good. And you would imagine if the score and we're competitive and we're in the ball game that we'd hopefully be able to do the same thing.